Hello everyone, welcome to my channel again. Today I would like to basically share with you a very short video on some of the common life and death knowledge that I think, especially if my viewers are trying to get into the Dan level, it's very important to master those things. Let's first look at an example where Black plays out a very old school type of local variations. So obviously, you should not play out like this as Black because at this early stage, given White the outside influence like this is not a great idea. Actually, you will fall very behind if you play out like this in very early in the game. Let's say, for example, let's just say White already has two stones. Then choosing this variation is okay because White has over concentration. So the idea here is really for us to focus on the life and death situations in the corner. So as of now, of course, Black is alive. What I want to talk about, though, is what happens when White turns here. So after White turns at G18, I think most of my viewers know that there's still no life and death problems in the corner, right? If there was a life and death problem in the corner, um, Black probably would not just crawl once. He will probably crawl twice to make sure that White's turn here is a gote. So we all know this is a gote, but why is it a gote, right? Let's say if we play here, and then White decides to say, hey, let me try to kill your corner. How should we defend the corner, right? This is the first question we try to answer today. Now, for the high dan level players out there, and you think you know the answers, please stay in this video because I guarantee you that today's video is going to, as long as you're not a professional player, today's video is going to be helpful for you as well. So, Black has two defenses. One is to play d19, and the other one is to connect at d18. So both are going to live the corner, no problem. If Black plays d19, which is something that I see pretty much all the time in online games, White has this b19 poke here. Now Black needs to defend with b18, and now White connects. Against this move, well, first of all, against this move, Black needs to make an extra move to live, right? So Black needs to respawn at c19. And then White has a throw in here. It does look like a Tetsuji, and it actually is, right? Because Black cannot connect anymore. So Black can just capture. Now we have to break this extra eye, in which case Black can just capture the stone at 819, and Black is alive, right? So White was able to gain a little bit of points in the corner. A better move, in my opinion, is to just connect at d18. This is not played very often, but this actually is a great move. So against this move, there's no way to kill Black. First attempt is to play the 2-2 vital point. Black Hanes, White extends, and then Black plays c19. Now there's a Mi eye, right? Black can make an eye, the second eye, right, through here or here. Now, a trickier move is probably for White to play c19. Now, if you're not very familiar with this move, you'll be confused, right? And this is how you can, I guess, try to test your opponent out in a game where you feel like you're losing and you just want to test if your opponent knows he's life and death. So against this move, the correct answer, since we have a lot to cover in terms of very technical stuff, so I'm going to accelerate and just directly give you the answer. is for you to play a18. After this move, after this move, if white Hanes try to break the eye here, we can play the Kosumi over here, and then we have two eyes. That's no problem. If white breaks this eye, we can play. We can try to make the second eye, and if white squeezes here, we can just block white here because we have a lot of outside liberties. We can next fill in at c18 and then kill white. So there's no Seki in the corner. And finally, if white Hanes, we can simply jump at b19. So this would be a live shape. Okay, so that shows you that this corner is alive. So I guess most of the high dan players already know this, right? This is all of a review. If you're a single digit Q level player and you're not so sure about it, I just presented the solution for you. Now there might be things that you don't know about this corner. First of all, white extend at G19. Is it a sente or not against black's corner? This is a very important knowledge to know. So the reason white plays out the G19 is because this is making the influence here very strong. Let's say, for example, at some point black tries to live here, then this G19 might serve as a killer stone towards the group over here. Obviously, this is not the case for this game, but let's say, if all of these white stones, these black stones are white, and then black tries to live inside here, the G19 really reduces the eye space for black on the right side. So let's say, for example, your opponent's not careful and he's just like, oh, you play here trying to kill my right side, so I'm going to lift the right side, and then I'm going to not do anything about the corner here. We absolutely need to know what happens in the corner. So the answer for this life and death question is that black is clean dead, right? So there's no code. There's nothing. If white plays correctly, black is going to die. It doesn't matter who your opponent is. It could be Lee Sedol. It could be the best player who's like the best reader of all time. It's a dead corner. But we have to know how to kill it. So this problem is very hard. If you try to solve it by yourself, I encourage you to do that. But if you can't solve it by yourself, that's no problem. I'd say this is a decent problem for any Fox 8 dan. The first move is for us to, sorry about that. Let's say black does not play. First move is for us to cut at D18. This is already pretty hard to find. Now, black has two defenses, right? Obviously, black has to deal with this. The first most intuitive move is to play C18. Against this move, the next move is for white to directly peep at B19. And now black is dead. So if black captures, we can just break the eye. And then if black plays here, we can Atari. When black connects, we can Hane. This is a dead shape. And that's pretty much it, right? There's no other way for black to resist, right? It's a very clean dead. Like if you play, I don't know what you play. If you play here, we can play out this one. If you play here, if you play here, we can just Atari at F19. Or we can even Atari at E19. It doesn't really matter. So the point is, when black captures, we can Atari. Whether black connects or not, it doesn't really matter because in the corner, this is a bent 4, which is dead. For any rules, basically, whether it's Chinese rules, Japanese rules, or Korean rules, this is just a dead shape. Okay, so if black resists at c18, you need to remember to play out the b19, right? So if you try to read it by this out by yourself, I encourage you to do that exercise. But if you can't, you should probably memorize the b19 move. It's a killer move. Now, a high dan level player might trick you by playing the d19 move. So against this move, white needs to be very careful here, right? If white just plays out the existing move, right, the previous Tsuji, it doesn't work anymore, right? Because black now has a resistance move by playing the 2-2. Now, when you Atari, black is not going to go back and answer here. Rather, he's going to play out this one. So against this move, it just, if you capture, we can capture at 1-1. And at this point, it's a clean ally for black, actually. Well, you might be saying, hey, what if I play out this one? Well, black can capture you, and now we see a Mii at the first line move here, as well as connecting over here. So that's also a clean ally. So b19 is no longer the correct move. When your opponent resists at d19, you simply Atari from behind. Now black cannot resist anymore, right? Like if black plays out this one, we can just push in. When you play out this one, we can see this is a very obvious dead shape. The only way is for black to capture. And now I hope all of you guys know which move will kill black, right? So it's we're back to the same shape. And this is a clean death for black. So very important for you to know that extending at g19 is a sente towards the corner. All right. So after we have some basics for this very common shape, this is actually a corner that happens all the time in games, right? So another example I can give you is when you play the small big knights. When the situation fits, or basically if it's very empty on the board, you usually don't want to play this 3-3 invasion. But let's say for whatever reason, the board is pretty much filled up, and then you have the chance to grab the corner, then it might be an opportunity for you to take the territory. The correct continuation for both sides is to play out like this. White Ataris, and then black connects. White Hanes, and black blocks here, and then makes tiger's mouth. And then finally, we have we can connect at Q18. Now, this is just to review the stuff that we just covered, right? There are two ways to fix this corner for white. The first way is obviously the connect that we see all the time. And I personally think this is a better way to fix. But another way for you to fix is to play Q19. The problem with fixing at Q19 is black's descent here is ascente toward the corner. So, well, obviously, first of all, black needs to fix the stone here, right? Black has to kill the stone. Now, as a side note, I actually want to explain why you want to kill the stone. You see this variation all the time. You might be wondering, well, is it okay for me to ignore this problem? It depends on the situation, right? If you are excessively strong outside, you might be able to ignore this threat. But usually you don't want to ignore this stone, right? You want to make sure you capture the stone. So if you don't capture the stone, right, say you get greedy and then you play out something like that, white can extend. The problem with this extension is now you have insecurities on both sides. There's a pincer here at L17, and then there's a very deadly threat against this group. Let's say, for example, you're not careful. You play somewhere else. White can play the Kosumi here. When black connects, white plays out the R12 move. This move is not an attacking move. This move actually just kills black. Right? Black is dead right now. I can tell you for sure. because I've read this out myself. So if you play here, white can extend. Um, and then if you play out like this, I can just extend up. So there's no way for black to escape here, basically. And of course, if you attach here, we can just block you like that. Um, and and if you extend, there's so many moves to kill. Like I can even just extend here. Probably kills, but also I can connect here. This is probably a safer way to kill. Black cannot live, right? If you play here, I can get rid of your eye. So there's no way for black to get out. A trick move is for black to play the S11. Uh, this is a very tricky move, actually. So whenever you get into this situation, you might think about this trick move. You're hoping for white to block here, but then after white block, he's falling into a trap because now we can Hane. When white Hanes, we can extend out. When white cuts, we can block. And now white ends up dying inside. All what you need to do as white is to bump into black like this, and then when black tries to connect back, we can Hane from behind, and then I won't play the rest of it because you can see that black has so many liberty problems. It's all on the first and second line with no eye. That's just game over for black. All right, so that's a little bit of side note as to why this extension is very severe. That's not our main topic for today. When white plays here, we fix, and white is free to play somewhere else, but later on, this extending at 019 is a sente against white's corner. So, um, so why is that the case, right? I want to leave this to some of the down level players as an exercise for you to read it out yourself, and also basically based on the solution that I just showed you from before. Um, I'm pretty sure you can figure out how to kill this corner properly. And also feel free to comment below my video if you have any thoughts about this corner. Not only down level players, I misspoke, but also single digit Q level players who are passionate about life and death Sumegos. You are welcome to give it a try. All right, so when white connects over here, which is usually a better idea, which is usually a move that you see most of the time, black plays the Atari and then white plays somewhere else. So we already talked about life and death in this corner. I won't repeat that. This is a clean alive corner. I want to talk about this T15 move because it's actually a move that's worth discussing about. This obviously helps a lot for the outside, right? For the same reason, it could affect the life and death of a side group here for white. But is this a sente against white's corner? Now let's say, for example, white just plays somewhere else. What's gonna happen in the corner if black gets to play another move? So we'll fix this problem in this video. So at this point, the first thing we might think about is to use this first line move to crawl. Maybe this crawl becomes stronger, but white can just hop at S19. So how do we continue from here, right? We cannot allow white to play the 1-2 move again because that's such a live shape. So we have to play here. And then when white blocks over here, black can extend back up at 2-2. So here I want to leave this also as an exercise for the single digit Q level players to figure out how to deal with this as white. You can comment below the video as well. So If black plays from this side, this is also faced with the same annoying move over here. Now, since this move is so annoying, why can't we play it ourselves? Well, if you play out this one, white can defend at r19. You are forced to play out this one. Then what we can do is, just to Hane here, right? This is still a Miyai situation. So if you play out this one, we can extend. Sure, you have a helper stone that gives you the chance to go in here, but this is actually a snapback, which means that white is still alive. So the S19 does not work. We're finally left with this 2-2 vital point. Against this move, white has no choice but to play out the Hane here. So against this Hane, if black extends, we play out the r19. This becomes the same shape. White is alive. Now here, because of black's t15 move, black now has a Tosuji. That is to play the r19. If white Ataris, black can connect. Now, usually without a stone at t15, white is able to block over here. But now, because of a liberty problem, black can Hane from the outside. If white blocks here, we can capture the entire group. So obviously white cannot play out the Atari here. White's correct move is to play t16. Now at this point, black can throw in at t19, white takes, and then this becomes a ko. This ko is very heavy for white, but it takes a lot of moves for black to win this ko. Let's say, for example, black takes back. White can now wait for one move, right? It's not an immediate ko. Like black cannot get rid of the ko in one move. Like black has to add an extra move here. And now when white plays another move, finally black can Hane here. Well, in fact, I have to check. This is a very confusing ko actually. So if black Hanes here, white can actually still take back. I actually have to read this out carefully. Like this ko is still not over. There's still a ko, as we can see how tough this ko is. Like white can still go from behind and try to revive himself. If black connects here, then white can Atari, right? So I'm just reading this out on the spot. So if you play here, I can still capture. So there's no way for black to get rid of this, even in 3 moves. But you know, although this is a tough ko for black to finish, the condition for this is that it was white's corner. So there was something inside white's corner, and then black was able to get a flower ko. So that's not a bad thing for black. So what's the conclusion for this thing? Is that this extend at t15 has some threat against the corner, but it's not necessarily a sente. But when you look at the other shape, when white fixed like this, and then, sorry, why did I, okay, so yeah, so when black extends over here, if white doesn't play, there's a way to clean kill, and I left that as an exercise. Which tells you why this connection over here is usually a better move than playing the tiger's mouth over here, because the T15 is not as severe as the O19 in the other case. All right, so this is pretty much today's topic. We covered a lot about this corner. Like hopefully by the end of this video, and then hopefully you do some of the exercise that I left, you become an expert at this corner. I guarantee you that a lot of Fox 7 Dans don't know all the nitty gritty details of this corner. And if you can master this corner better than the high down level players, this is a huge boost to your level because this game happen this kind of corner happens all the time in our games. It's a very practical local um, set of local variations for you to remember. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give a thumb up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I will see you guys next time.